welcome to Vibes and Frequencies. My name is Nathan, and I make videos to help people to be the most powerful expression of themselves. And in this video, I'm talking about my personal favorite spiritual companion, energy being, crystals. And most specifically, I mean, these are tools that we can use, and they're actually conscious beings as well. And, well, they're things that we can use on our spiritual journeys, right? Now, what I'm specifically talking about in this video is actually the differences in energies between these crystals. For example, does one piece of Moldavite that's this shape and this size carry a different energy than this piece that's this size, right? Things like this. The truth is that all crystal energy is the same. So in the sense that Moldavites, for example, both pieces are holding the same kind of energy that the piece that you have would hold as well. But just like with people, where we're all people, we all have the energy of being a human, we all have that inherent quality to us. The shape is different, the expression is different. We express ourselves differently, and we see this taking place in nature all around us as well. Everything is expressing itself in a different kind of way. And these expressions are really what a lot of the energy and experience that we get from our crystals are coming from, because these different sizes, shapes, expressions, ways of movements lend themselves to, in a sense, almost like speaking a different kind of language. And based on direction, this can also impact the way that energy moves through us and the way that we ourselves, with ourself, our ego, human vehicle, meat bodysuit thing, we ourselves can interpret the information perhaps a little bit better. So while all Moldavites are carrying the energy of transformation and are carrying the same vibration in this way, there's still each individual piece a completely different expression of the same consciousness, which is exactly the same consciousness that you and I share, and that we share with nature, and that's woven into everything around us. So by interacting with different shapes, different sizes, what's taking place is we are allowing ourselves an opportunity to have a slightly different conversation with someone who expresses themselves in a slightly different way, even though it's all the same. We're all one. It's all the same consciousness. It's all the same energy, just exploding in different directions, right? So your specific expression that you are will likely find yourself being attracted to certain kinds of shapes and things like this, right? With all kinds of different breeds of crystals and spiritual tools, and this is the way that it is. So for me, just kind of like a fun, conversation here, in case you're interested, my Moldavite here is the piece to me that, for me and the way that the conversation kind of takes place, it's a much more kind of gentle approach. It's a much more protective kind of energy. Now, it's still Moldavite, it's still the same thing, but this is the kind of conversation that I end up having with this piece. The conversations that take place with me energetically on all the, dimensions of myself and experience, they all lend themselves to this kind of energy with this kind of conversation. Now, the conversations I have with this piece here are of a much different kind of way. This piece is much more aggressive, much more fiery type energy. It's a very forceful, transformative, I feel like I'm just teleporting through reality and things. Now, here's the deal. These things that I'm interpreting and experiencing as these differences in energies are taking place because of things that are natural forces outside of myself, as in the shape, the way that this was formed, the place that it was, right? These things have nothing to do with me. It's just the way that it is. So I'm interpreting and receiving energy from my crystals in this way, as well as regurgitating it back. Regurgitating is a poor choice of word. I'm filtering it through my expression. So when you bring in a crystal, this is a piece of black kyanite, if you're curious. When I bring in this piece of black kyanite, for example, and it's expressing its energy in a certain way because of the way that it is, because of the way that it was made, that has nothing to do with it, but because of the way that it is, right? The universe, this is just how it is. Because of this, the energy is expressed in a certain way. And because of me and the expression that I am, I also receive it in a certain kind of way. Now, when you have all kinds of different options and opportunities of expressions and conversations amongst you and I, the whole collective human population, and all of the crystals out there that are moldavite or kyanite or citrine, like any of these, right? What we're doing is having an amazing opportunity to have all kinds of great, powerful conversations with ourselves, and the crystals get to interact with us too, because these really are conscious beings. I have no evidence. I'm not going to try to convince you of this, that crystals are conscious living beings, but I will tell you that when I find myself working with my crystals a lot, and the time is right, and it's just the way it is, it's just the way I am and the crystal is in the moment itself, things kind of line up. And you get the sense of the world around you, that you really are it, that you really are woven into everything, and everything is woven into you simultaneously. So my favorite thing about working with different shapes of crystals and things, because I've got a lot of moldavite. What's the point in continuing to get more pieces, right? What's the point in this? What's the point in having different shapes, sizes, if they're all just the same? It's all just moldavite. Well, the point of this is that I can continuously have different conversations. And every time that I find myself bringing in more, it's a certain kind of alignment with the universe. And this is a difficult thing to explain. Again, I'm not trying to, convince you of anything. It's really important to be open and have your own realizations and things, of course. But there's a spiritual energy that just kind of streamlines straight in and through. And it's because of all the different kinds of conversations that I've had with all these different beings that are these conscious beings, that I realize that while all the conversations are different, while we're all expressing ourselves differently, they really are all the same. And that's the most powerful thing that I've ever gotten from a conversation with crystals. Because when we're so focused on all the differences, this allows us to merge ourself, our puzzle piece, our ego, human, vehicle, meat suit thing, into these pieces, and to resonate with them and find ourselves able to work with them. A teacher that's effective for us, a student that's effective for them, right? It just is the way it is. It's alignment. When this takes place, it's a great opportunity for us to discover and have multiple conversations with different shaped crystals, different expressions, to realize that even though they're all different, they are all the same. We all are. So at the end of the day, different sizes, shapes of the same kind of crystal are going to have the size and shape impact the way that they express themselves. And it's really as simple as that. Now, there's also another impact of energy that takes place, and that is the location that these things come from. And again, this will have nothing to do with you. It's one of these things that where that crystal was, how it was formed, the energy of the place. Think of it as though it carries the energy of that location, right? But that one specific moment in the infinite scope of moments throughout the universe, a piece of the universe is just, boom, freeze framed right there for you to connect with. Sometimes it's hard to hear what the crystal might be saying and to connect with that. But this is why if we listen to our intuition and we let go of trying to pick different shapes and things that perhaps someone has told us is the best, or this one works the best because of this, if we let go of these things, what ends up happening is we can actually feel our shape better. We can feel our expression a lot more fluidly. And when we can feel our expression, this enables us to also see which crystal is communicating with us. It's a lot less of you doing something and a lot more of it just happening. So it's all about just kind of alignment and let it come to you. Now, this is so much of why I think crystals are so exciting. And the further and further I go in my spiritual transformation and my journey, the more and more I love crystals. And the more and more I appreciate them, and I start to realize that the magic of these conscious beings, the properties of these, all this stuff, is so much more amazing than I thought they were before. So much more amazing than I ever could have imagined. It's just endless. Now, I do make a whole lot of videos, 3 a week, and a lot of them have to do with crystals. So if you like this kind of stuff, you could subscribe, and that means you'll catch me in the next video. In the meantime, definitely listen to your crystals by listening to yourself and listening to the natural environment around you. It's easy. It's not as hard as a lot of us might think it sometimes, right? So thanks again. My name's Nathan, and I'll catch you for the next video. Have a good one.